Good morning to you. Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. It is September the 2nd. Wow, we're already in September. Can you believe that? New semester is upon us, fall semester, and we've got second start on the way. We'll talk about that shortly. Got a lot of things to unpack. First things first, we're on HCCTV at noon and 5 p.m. Thanks to all of you watching us on Facebook Live and YouTube. You can find us across social media as Houston Community College District. We are about to go live right now, but first I want to introduce Dr. Tony Reyes Sutherland, my co-host this morning. Tony, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Let's go live right now and take a live look at an event that's about to happen. You're looking at Gallery Furniture. Now, Gallery Furniture is on the Northwest Freeway, and some interesting things going on out there, including an event that'll happen, event later on this morning. Now, as you know, Tony, Mattress Mac has been deeply involved with the community, trying to help our neighbors to the east in Louisiana in the wake of Hurricane Ida. And I think you're looking at some trucks there that are about to be loaded with goods that they'll be taking to the hurricane victims.
Absolutely. We have something, I think Dr. Murillo started it, but it's the President's Ida Relief Fundraising Initiative that HCC is being a part of with both Mattress Mac and also
PepsiCo.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what you're looking at now are some trucks which are going to be loaded with non-perishable items. Mattress Mac has been collecting for the victims of Hurricane Ida at his gallery store in the North Freeway for the past few days. You see bottles of water and volunteers. It's been a concerted effort. HCC is joining in with PepsiCo and some local partners, including Mattress Mac. And later on this morning at 11 a.m., a presentation from PepsiCo, one of our partners, along with HCC, will be made. You can join in on this because we have a relief fund that we've established with our partner, the Houston Food Bank, and we're working with PepsiCo Foundation and Gallery Furniture. And it's a link where you can donate to help our neighbors in Louisiana. As you know, Hurricane Ida just devastated Louisiana and continues to devastate the Northeast right now as the remnants go across the country with that horrible storm. And you can see preparations are underway at Gallery Furniture. Lots of items. They are about right there. They're about to load those with a forklift up onto those trucks and take them to Louisiana. Yeah, so there you go.
These are going to go through the Houston Food Bank and help all the people out there. And our goal is to get at least $10,000, and HCC is going to match it, right?
That's exactly right. We've already started collecting. There is a link where you can go to collect or donate to the funds. We'll have that link in the social media of our show. So there we go. Live shot out there. Okay, moving on for today. Tony, we've got some interesting things to talk about. First off, we got a couple of guests. It's Thursday Virtual Family Fun Day, and we've got Ruth Ann Hattori. She's the marketing director of the National Museum of the Pacific War. Good morning, Ruth Ann. How are you? We've got your mic off, so we'll get that on, and we're going to check in with you in just a little while because I know you've got a great symposium that's going to be happening very soon. All right, Ruth Ann Hattori, we'll be back with you in about 10 minutes. We're going to kick things off. Tony, stick around, by the way. We're going to check in with you in a few, and you'll be talking with Ruth. Dr. Amy Tan is joining us. She's the Dean of the English and Communications Department. Amy, welcome back to the show.
Thanks. Good morning. I'm always glad to be on HCC Up to the Minute.
Yeah, good morning to you. I know you're extremely busy with the new semester starting, but I've got to ask you off the top here. Did you run this morning?
I did 7 this morning.
All right, good. So we both got the running out of the way.
That's right. Check it off.
We've been working remotely for, it seems like, forever, but I know a lot of students are itching to get back to the campuses. When can students think about returning to campus? I know an announcement was just made yesterday.
We just announced, the chancellor just announced that we'll be back to campuses on October 2nd. So that's about 6 weeks into our regular term. And it'll be about 2 weeks after the the second start.
Right. Okay. So right now, the academic classes, which I imagine are classes that fall within your scope, are all online. And they've realistically, I know we had some classes in session this summer, but most of these classes have been online for the last year and a half, right?
Pretty much. We've been operating entirely remotely. We had a few classes on campus this summer, like you said. I think I think that a lot of people really appreciated the risk management and the decision to stay remote since we were back in red and things were peaking. But, we've got a lot of people behind the scenes looking at all the data. And so, we do have a lot of faculty who are really eager to get back to campus and are ready for that to happen.
What's it been like engaging with the students online? I know the faculty has been appreciative of staying safe and looking forward to getting back on campuses, but how's it been going with the students from what you've seen?
So a lot of the students tell us that they really appreciate the online synchronous modality, which is something that came out of the pandemic. We never did that before. And it's an excellent opportunity for them to have that flexibility to work, wherever they're available. And I think this is a modality that we will continue as we move forward to offer, because they can still have that face-to-face interaction. And I know that our faculty are trying to encourage students, engage students, ask them to turn their cameras on, but also be sensitive to the fact that sometimes you're in a place where you can't turn your camera on.
Yeah. And you're talking about the online on a schedule.
Correct.
And we have two ways that you can learn online. One of them is online anytime, which you can pretty much download the class and take it in the middle of the night if you'd like. But the online on a schedule, that one allows you to interact with your classmates and also the instructor as well.
Absolutely. So you have the same meeting pattern, just like you would be meeting on campus. There, you can expect the professor to be there, to have information, to run the class. I think there's been a little bit of a challenge in trying to think about how we recreate activities that we might do in person. And that's been challenging, but also a wonderful space for innovation.
And so one thing I learned when I started working for HCC many years ago was that we have year-round enrollment. We do offer the traditional fall, spring, and summer classes, but we also have second start and other options for people, the short semesters, the 6-week options. Tell us about the next opportunity we have, which is second start. Can people take English and communications classes in the second start semester?
They can. They absolutely can. I hope everyone will go and look and see what's available. You can take math. You can take history. We have a wonderful offerings of different speech classes. We have business and professional communication. We have intro to speech. We have public speaking. And so we're really trying to grow those classes and promote that program. We also have a wonderful slate of communications programs. So anybody out there who wants to be on TV, who wants to come into the journalism and broadcast industry, we have an excellent program. And those classes, we really want the students to be on campus. They really need to be on campus. And so we'll have some second start classes and it's an actual major that you can take. It's a field of study concentration that you can take with your associate's degree. And then, of course, English is the gateway course. So we always have a lot of demand for English. Every time we open a class, it fills immediately.
Well, when you're taking second start, is the semester somewhat accelerated because you're pushing it in? I imagine as you get closer towards the end of the fall semester, the classes, the semesters get more accelerated. English, communications, okay, I can see accelerating those. But if you're getting me to like trigonometry, I don't know if I'm going to take a 6 weeks trigonometry and get through that. So I guess if you're a student, you might want to look at what courses you could feasibly take in those shorter time periods.
Absolutely. So the way that we do it is according to our accreditation and the academic course guide manual in the state of Texas. Most of our courses are 48 credit hours. It's going to vary if it's math or biology. Yeah. But for the most part, we're talking 48 credit hours. And so if you're taking that in a 16-week semester, which is our regular term, you're going to meet with your professor in your class 3 hours a week. So when you go to second start, you can expect to meet 4 hours a week.
Okay.
So it's accelerated and concentrated. But the 12-week I feel like is a good. The 8-week is a little, like you said, it's a little more intense because you're doubling up those hours. So it's 6 hours a week.
So your classes are going to be longer, your workload's going to be tougher, but really you have the option of making it through the semester and you get a bunch of credits in those 8 weeks.
You do. And I really think it's personal. It's very individual. Some students want to take 2 8-week classes in the first half of the semester, and then they're only worried about 2 classes. It might be more intense, but they only have 2. And then they'll take 2 in the second 8 weeks. So that's one way that students manage it. The way that Second Start came about is we realized that we had students who were coming for regular term and they were missing that deadline for registration. And we know that in order for students to be successful, they really need to be in class on that first day. And so that's how Second Start really came about.
Right.
But this interesting phenomenon happened is students were actually, they would start with 4 classes and then they would pick up that 5th in Second Start. And so they were strategically planning their workload. And like you said, it depends on if, what's your forte. You might want a 16-week math class, but then you might be happy to take a 12-week history class.
Sure. Right. When I went to college a few years back, I will say, community colleges were looked at differently. You kind of went to a community college and when you didn't know what you were going to do and you're like, oh, they went to a community college. That's totally changed now. It's totally changed, and we're a very viable option because there are a lot of benefits with going to an HCC before you transfer to a 4-year university. Number one, of course, you're going to save a bunch of money, but you're still going to get a great education as well.
Absolutely. That is absolutely true. And you see that students recognize that our faculty have they have the degree, they have the credentials, right?
Yeah,
they have their terminal degree. That's what I was trying to say. They have PhDs in their field. They are experts in their area. They have those credentials. And so, we're all, if you go to U of H or you go to UT, you come to HCC, we're all teaching from the same academic course guide manual. And so that we're offering the same course, but you're going to get more personalized attention because our caps on our classes are a lot lower.
And you're not going to wind up with a bunch of hours you won't use. Our academic advisors, I know you guys really work hard to make sure your plans fit right into our partnering universities.
Absolutely. We stick to the core and we work with our area institutions and our partner schools, particularly U of H, to make sure that our programs are going to seamlessly transfer. And we do a lot of that work through the guided pathways.
Dr. Amy Tan, October 2nd isn't that far away. We're going to be going to campuses. What are you going to do when you want to run? You might have to get to school a bit early.
Yeah, I'm going to have to set that alarm a little bit earlier and maybe cut back a little bit on the miles, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it to be on campus. Todd, also, if you don't mind me mentioning really quickly, October 11th is when our SACS virtual visit is happening.
Okay.
And so that's a really important thing for all of us. For all of HCC. We want to get that reaccreditation. And so they're going to be here the week of October 11th. And
Absolutely.
They aren't going to be on campus, but we will be.
Right. And I think I've actually got a meeting with some of you guys later in the week on that. So, all right, Dr. Amy Tan, Dean of English and Communications. We appreciate the information. It's always good to see you. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. It's Thursday, Virtual Family Fun Day. Dr. Tony Reyes-Sutherland's got a special guest he's going to take us out to right now. Tony?
Yes, I do. Ruth Ann Hattori from the National Museum of the Pacific War. She's the marketing director there. Hi, Ruth Ann. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing really well. Thank you. I'm actually not in Texas this week. I am in Colorado. Not exactly where this is, but close by.
Oh, that looks beautiful. Well, I've been to Fredericksburg, which is where the museum is in Texas, and it is such a quaint, wonderful place. I love the city. I love the museum. And I understand you've got a symposium coming. It's called A Catalyst for Change, Diversity in World War II. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, this is our 34th year having a symposium. And obviously in the past, it was done in person, on site most years. But the last 2 years, we've been virtual. And it's actually been a success in that we were able to get people to participate from different places, in Texas and even in the country, which is true again this year. So because we're virtual, you can participate from wherever you are. We're probably going to get some participants from Japan even this year, some students in Japan. So we feel really good about our virtual program. It is, instead of an all-day affair, we don't expect people to sit in front of their computers all day. So we've split it into 2 days, Friday afternoon, September 17th from noon to 5, and then resuming on Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. so that you can kind of stretch and have dinner and do a few of those things in between.
Well, you have some speakers that are going to talk virtually. Tell us a little bit about them and their background, and what are they going to talk about?
Well, first of all, we're going to kick off on Friday with someone who might be familiar to you and everyone in Houston, Charles Bolden, Major General Charles Bolden, retired, who was the head of NASA for 8 years, retiring in 2017. And he, having spent 34 years as a Marine and he served in Vietnam, he really has a perspective on how the military has changed over all these years. So we are going to, during the symposium, we are going to talk a lot about what was the military like during World War II, but we're also going to be moving forward in time and taking a look at what is the military like today in terms of those ethnic issues and diversity issues and things like that. So he's going to head it off. The rest of our speakers are actually what I would call subject matter experts, which, I think in the academic world, people know what that means.
Absolutely.
We have a number of them who actually are representing different groups that fought during World War II or supported during World War II. And if you'd like, I can tell you a little bit about them.
Oh, please. Yes.
So first of all, Dr. Matthew Delmont, who is a professor at Dartmouth College, has done extensive research on the African-American experience in the U.S. He has actually published some books with very interesting titles. One is called Why Busing Failed, Media and the National Resistance to School Desegregation. And here's a really cool one, The Nicest Kids in Town, American Bandstand, Rock and Roll, and the Struggle for Civil Rights in the 1950s in Philadelphia.
How diverse in subject matter.
I know. And so his newest book is actually the same title as his talk for Symposium, Half American, The Epic Story of African Americans Fighting World War II at Home and Abroad. And it will be published this year, next year. So that's what he's going to talk about. So it's really about the World War II experience of African Americans. Our next speaker, Dr. Brian Hayashi, actually did his research for his PhD at UCLA on Japanese Americans and their ability and their process of assimilating into American society over a very long period of time. He published a book about that research called For the Sake of Our Japanese Brethren. Today, he's teaching at Kent State University. And more recently, he studied the internment of West Coast Japanese Americans. And he also got really involved in investigating the murky world of intelligence. He was looking at what happened in intelligence during World War II. And I don't know if many people know this, but the Office of Strategic Services, which was the forerunner to the CIA, it was called the OSS, the forerunner of the CIA, actually recruited a whole bunch of, I mean thousands of Asian Americans during World War II and beyond, and deployed them as spies. Mm-hmm. And so Dr. Hayashi has researched this, and he just published a new book called Asian American Spies. And that's actually what he's going to be talking about at the symposium. So that will be quite interesting, because I think that most people don't know there were, as I say, thousands of Japanese Americans recruited to do this spying. And they did all kinds of different, obviously intercepting communications and all kinds of stuff, but very interesting stuff.
Very exciting.
Yeah. So on Friday afternoon, our last session is actually going to be a panel. And I think that people will find this panel really interesting, because it's going to be about today's military. What is the current military really like? And so we have recruited 3 excellent panelists. The first one, we actually have 2 Marine generals and a retired admiral.
Wow.
So yes.
Top dog there.
Yeah, including General Angela Salinas, who is actually head of Girl Scouts these days in Texas. And she was, when she retired in 2013, I believe that she was the highest ranking woman in the Marines at the time of her retirement in 2013. So we will have General Salinas, we will have Rear Admiral Sam Perez, who is actually from El Paso. And then we will have, I think it's Lieutenant General Willie Williamson. And all of them have retired within the last decade. And so they can give us an insight into, not only because they all served, I think, more than 30 years in the military, so they can tell you about change that occurred in terms of diversity in the military over their term of service, but also what is the military like today? So that kind of rounds out our Friday program. And then on Saturday, we have Alexandra Harris from the Smithsonian's National Museum of the American Indian. She is their senior editor and writer, and she has certainly not only studied Native peoples, but has been immersed as a curator in a museum, Native American museum, prior to joining the Smithsonian. And she's going to talk about a book that she co-authored and edited called Why We Serve Native Americans in the United States Armed Forces. And that presentation, by the way, is a multifaceted presentation on the Smithsonian's website, and it's well worth taking a look. They have videos, they have the book, they have slideshows running right there on the website. It's an actually pretty amazing presentation, and she's going to speak to not just Native Americans as we would in the Western United States, kind of refer to them, but also Native Hawaiians and Native Alaskans who served during World War II. So I think that'll be a fascinating talk.
I heard that the Native American, just the tongue, their language, they were using that during the war to talk to each other so that the Japanese or the enemy did not know what they were saying. So yeah, that was a very interesting point.
Yes, a lot of Native Americans were called code talkers. And they were creating code during World War II to communicate. There were a lot of code breakers as well during World War II, and most of the vast majority of code breakers were women served in various branches of the military, and I'm sure that somebody will touch on that as well. And our last talk is going to be presented by Dr. Maggie Rivas Rodriguez, who is actually a professor of journalism at UT in Austin. But she was also a frontline journalist for many, many years. And she was the founder of Voces Oral History Project in 1999, which over these years, she has interviewed over 960 men and women who have served in the military, not only in World War II, but the Korean War, Vietnam, and thereafter. So it's a really rich history that she brings to this, and actually some, authentic stories of people who have served in the armed services who were Latinas and Latinos.
Well, I know that I'm very excited about this, and I can't wait to go to join the symposium to participate in it. And we're going to have information about how you can get to the symposium in our post also.
Perfect. Yes, you can go to our website, pacificwarmuseum.org, and just search symposium and you can find it there. As I said, this is our 34th year, and one of the things that we're really proud of every year, but this year in particular, is our mission at the National Museum of the Pacific War is to educate and truly inspire folks about those who fought in World War II in the Pacific, and really focusing on the continuing relevance of those lessons that were learned there. And so if you think about what we're unfolding this year, looking at diversity in the military, then what happened during the war and post-war, a really perfect example of change, even during the war, was Dory Miller, who many of you may be familiar with, was a young Black man from Waco, Texas, who ended up winning the Navy Cross. He, at the very beginning of World War II, in the Navy, if you were African American, you were only able to do certain jobs, like work in the kitchen or work in the laundry, those kinds of jobs. And he actually was a mess attendant. And when Pearl Harbor was attacked and his ship was attacked, he went to assist, and he ended up grabbing a 50 caliber anti-aircraft gun and started shooting at the Japanese planes that were attacking. And he does believe that he got one. And in any event, in the end, he was awarded the Navy Cross. Unfortunately, he did not survive the war. However, as time went on during World War II, the Navy did start to have African Americans in different kinds of jobs. President Roosevelt did sign some executive order, I believe, to expand roles that minorities could play in industry. And after the war, President Truman again signed some executive orders to expand the military even further. So a lot of change happened during World War II and obviously laid the groundwork for what has transpired in the years since then. So we're really proud to present that.
We appreciate you being on the show and telling us all about this.
Ruth Ann Hattori from the National Museum of the Pacific War. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your time off in Colorado.
Oh, thank you. Come and visit us in Fredericksburg. We
will. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Tony, we've only got a few moments left because we started off the show with a live shot, letting folks know what's happening out at Gallery Furniture. One thing I want to mention is, as we talked with Dr. Tan earlier, is that our second start semester is right around the corner. You can sign up for the second start semester. Classes start on the 20th. The first couple of weeks are going to be remote, so keep that in mind, especially for the academic courses. Workforce courses, you'll be meeting in person. We can go to hccs.edu/now for all of your needs to register. You can register today. Okay, tomorrow on the show, Tony, it's Film Friday.
Yes, and we're going to have filmmaker Lincoln Mondi of the groundbreaking documentary, Black Lives, Black Lungs. Now, I can't wait to see what that's going to be about. That's going to be.
He's been on the show before. He'll be talking about this documentary and how it's the industry's 50-year campaign to transform menthol into a black cigarette and has a deadly impact on the community. Hey, we're about to wrap up. Tony, thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see all of you live 10 a.m. right here and Up to the Minute.